Hey, it's Starzy, and I guess this is my third vlog for October. Today is Friday, October... What's the date today? Is it October 16th? I think. In terms of like what's been missed when I obviously wasn't actively vlogging anything, like I've watched some movies this week. I've played some Phasmophobia. I played and streamed some more Final Fantasy IX, which I love that game. I originally played Final Fantasy IX when I was a kid, so it's been like, you know, it's been many years since I played it, so I don't remember any of the story elements or stuff, so it means like I'm rediscovering the game for the first time, and it's been so much fun. I love it so much, and I still, like, there's so much to do in that game. I think there's still like a lot of hours left for me. And yeah, I've been watching spooky movies consistently too. I'm not going to talk about them all now, but if you want to know what I've watched and what I've rated things, like I have been logging everything on Letterboxd, otherwise I'll be making a video, you know, when October ends. I have also actually, I didn't grab the book. Great vlogger that I am, I never have the book on hand, but I have actually read the first quarter of Dracula. I'm still not enjoying reading it, and to be honest, I have skimmed some pages, but I've read the first quarter. Some stuff has happened, and I think me not enjoying it, I think comes down to a few elements. One, the fact that I'm in a bit of like a reading slump. I don't really feel like reading at all in general. Two, the style of the book doesn't really appeal to me, like the format, how it's, you know, it goes between letters and diary entries, and I think there's even been like an article and all that kind of stuff. I kind of like a more traditional narrative. It's one of the reasons I didn't really click with like Illuminae and things like that. I don't really like the format, and obviously like classics can be more difficult to get into in general because of the language and the way they're written. I don't know, so like I'm finding it interesting in terms of the fact of seeing the origin of this story and how it's obviously influenced a lot of media since, especially since I have consumed so much vampire media over the years. Yeah, otherwise, like, I'm not really loving it or feeling the need to pick it up, but I pushed myself this morning to read a significant amount, so we're a quarter of the way through. So that's the Dracula update. Also, at the end of my last vlog, obviously, I showed off a package that I'd received, and what came in that package was this wig and this headband, because I always wanted, I mean, for a while I just wanted like silver or grey hair, which I have actually had before when I was about 18, but I've always wanted like a silver or grey wig, and I had the opportunity or the excuse that to finally spend some money on myself because I hardly ever do. Yeah, I figured like this, I love the colour of this so much. I need to fix up the fringe because like I've never had a wig before that has like this much hair at the fringe, so I need to work out something to do with that. And it's the first Rockstar wig that I've ever tried as well. That's what it is. Well, the other thing is it's quite messy. I've never had a wig like come out of the bag this messy before. So yeah, but I do love the colour, and so I'll be good, you know, something I'll be experimenting with. And I love this headband. I've always wanted like a black garland of some kind because I've had, you know, colourful ones and stuff before, and I love it so much. I also got some incense, which it's a rose incense. It smells really good. And the other thing that came in this order was actually like this little art print that says Happy Halloween, Love Berserk, and it's actually like the cutest thing. I'm gonna have to put it up somewhere because like everything about this appeals to me. Like it's Halloweeny, pumpkins, cats, ghosts, and a really cute art style. Like this print is like perfect and so me. I got very excited when I saw that was in there. So yeah, so that's what was in the package. That's my bit of update. Again, yeah, everything's linked down below if you wanted to check my Twitch for the streams I've been doing, check my Letterboxd for what movies I've been watching, but otherwise that's where we're at this point in October. There's actually so much hair to this wig too. Look how long this wig is. But yeah, tomorrow, as I mentioned before, Saturday nights are always game nights with friends, and I think, oh, there's a new Jackbox collection that just came out, so I think that's what we're playing. And yeah. So something I discovered fairly recently, because I saw someone do it in a video, was hummus pasta, which is basically a vegan-friendly way to have like a creamy type pasta. So I use like hummus, lemon juice, herbs, and chili, in like the sauce itself, and then you can just kind of chuck it with whatever veggies. Like I've got like roasted chickpeas and capsicum and some mushroom. But it is actually so tasty. So tasty. I'm about to go to the supermarket and I might even get some like popcorn because this afternoon I'm actually hosting a watch along of The Babysitter as part of SBOOKTOBER readathon. Why is my cat meowing at me? But that's what I'm doing this afternoon, and then Saturday night, game night. Have I done any more reading? No. Did I play games last night though? Yes. It's Wednesday. My hair has just come out of a wig because I just filmed a horror book recommendations. I haven't read any more Dracula. Are we surprised? However, I have finished an entire book. I read, yesterday morning, I read Horror Store by Grady Hendrix, which is a horror book set in like an IKEA knockoff, and it was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. So may not have been continuing Dracula, but I did finish a book, and so I'm gonna count that as a win. Whether or not I read more Dracula, I have read at least one horror book this month. I've read at least one book this month. In saying that, I should check, I haven't checked yet, whether Horror Store, what prompts it might fit for Spooktober, since obviously that's a thing. I hosted my movie watch along, which was a lot of fun. I haven't really been able to join in on many of the Spooktober watch alongs, mostly because of time zone, because a lot of them have been hosted in the morning for me, either early enough that I'm not out of bed yet, like 5 or 6 in the morning, or I can't start watching a movie like in case I get work. I got to watch The Babysitter with people, and it was lots of fun, and I had popcorn, but my boyfriend ate the entirety of the popcorn I made before the movie had even started. Like, I hadn't even pressed play yet, the popcorn was all gone. So then he had to go make another bowl for me. So he's that person. I've mostly played video games. Are we surprised? No, nobody's surprised. Yesterday my friends were playing, what was it? Project Zomboid, which is interesting. I don't entirely know how I feel about that game at this point. I don't really know what's going on. I've been playing lots of video games. I've still been watching my movies, which again, I'm logging everything on Letterboxd if you want to stay updated with what I'm watching. But I also don't want to talk too much about every movie that I watched this month, just because there'll be a dedicated video for that after October ends. Alright, Horror Store. Because, like, as I said with, you know, my plan to read Dracula, really, like, my goal for Spooktober is really, I want to have at least one prompt from each part of the party ticked off. That would be ideal. So obviously, Horror Store is a horror book, so it fits scary costume, read a horror. Let's see, refreshments, does it fit anything here? I mean, we could go Mrs. Lovett's Meat Pies, there's definitely unlikable characters in that book. And dance floor, do we consider ghosts monsters? Actually, because it doesn't have to be a literal monster anyway, yeah. I'd say Monster Mash. There's definitely a monster in that book, whether you're talking literally or figuratively, I would say. And Festivities. Doesn't have a face on the cover. It's not a tome. Nobody warned me about it. There's not an animal on the cover. I don't think it fits any of the Festivities, unfortunately. Which means I have to finish Dracula, because Dracula I could count as Ouija board, a book people warned you about, because not only have I seen multiple people kind of talk about struggling reading Dracula, but I could also count it as my teenage self warning me about it, because I couldn't finish it then, so what am I doing? I've read a quarter of it though. There we go, get all the hair, annoying hair out of my face. Thank you. I read Horror Store. It can count for some of the categories. I really would like to have at least one from every category ticked off. So yeah, ideally I'm gonna be finishing Dracula. I'm just not excited about it. Like, Horrorstore was so much fun, and that's, like, the reason I read it is because I kind of just opened up Scribd and saw that there were Grady Hendrix books on there, which I've never read anything from Grady Hendrix and have always been interested to, so I was immediately like, well, I'm reading one of those now. And considering I haven't felt like reading at all, I felt like getting into something kind of short and fun was also kind of ideal, just to get some reading done, that maybe make me feel like reading a bit more. And I did really enjoy it, and I read it that morning. Like, it didn't take very long to read. It's not very long. So yeah. So I've played some video games, I've watched some movies, and I read a book. Yay! See? I'm a good readathon host and participant. I'm a good booktuber. I finished a book. It's the 21st of October, and I finished my first book for the month. And honestly, I don't have high hopes about finishing Dracula. Oh, I get to see my family this weekend, which is very exciting because the restrictions in Melbourne have just changed slightly. So I'll be allowed to go see them outside somewhere. We're not allowed to be inside, but I can go see them outside for the first time in so many months. I haven't seen them since, what, June or July? I'll be able to see my mother and sibling. Look, I've still got time in October. I can still get Dracula in. I'll force myself to read it at the last minute. Watch as that is actually what happens. I watched The Addams Family today too. I don't know, like the 1991 one, which I'm not sure whether I've seen the movies in their entirety before, or whether I was just so young when I saw them that I don't really remember. Like, I honestly don't know whether I've watched the whole movies before or not. Like, watching it, I was like, oh yeah, this seems kind of familiar, but like I could have just gotten glimpses of it on TV and never watched the whole thing. I'm not actually sure. It's not really important, but I watched The Addams Family this morning. That's what I watched. I also tried another horror game, which surprisingly I did not cry or scream, and I played an hour of it, which is an achievement for me, because as much as I love horror movies, and I love horror games, like I love watching horror games, I'm just not so good at playing them, which is why I will never play Phasmophobia alone. Phasmophobia is like my favorite game at the moment, if that wasn't obvious by the fact that I keep uploading stuff related to it. But I don't think I could ever play that game alone, because I am a baby. That game has made me scream, as evident from, it wasn't like a full scream, it was like a squeal, but like my last video I uploaded I think was Phasmophobia gameplay, where nothing, like, yeah, I just, oh. In other news, this necklace is actually from my teen vampire stage. So I've had this, what, since I was like 14, 15, now 27, and it's still going. So looking at the Horrorstore cover, there is actually a face on it, which means it can fit for the carved jack-o'-lanterns prompt, and thus this one book has allowed me to fulfill 4 prompts, one from each category of Spooktober. So success, goals met. I have also like cosplayed in the past week, so I'll put something here. Does anyone recognize the character? It's a very weird anime that I am weirdly nostalgic about because I watched it for the first time when I was 17, but boy, it's definitely not unproblematic. But it took me freaking 10 years to put together this cosplay, because I wanted to cosplay her since I was 17, and I finally put it together, and then the pandemic happened. So, oh, to be a cosplayer in a pandemic. Plant friend update. It's doing well, which is making it probably the longest living plant I've ever had, and there is much more lavender now. It's so pretty. We also have a second plant friend now that Nathan brought home, not even knowing what it was, but 2 plant friends. It's Friday and I don't really have any update beyond saying that I've worked, watched Scooby-Doo and played Phasmophobia, but my hair's different, so that's the only update that's important, clearly. I also pretty much look like a sunset. It wasn't really, like, that wasn't entirely intentional, but... It's so cold. It's so cold. Where's my slice?
Kind of looks like we're just in the middle of nowhere,
really
in the wilderness.
does.
Just nature as far as the eye can see.